Now, the campaign to find West Yorkshire's first police and crime commissioner is very much in the home straight. The 4 candidates have debated the issues live here on BBC Radio Leeds today. That debate was with Wes Butters from 9. We'll get a flavour of it later, after 5 in fact, or you can hear it all by visiting the BBC Radio Leeds website at bbc.co.uk/Leeds. Now, though, let's speak to a man who will have no trouble, I think, deciding who to vote for, because it's the Bradford East Liberal Democrat MP, David Ward. There is a Liberal Democrat candidate, or is that decision not quite that easy? We'll find out from him. David Ward, good afternoon.
Hi, Andrew.
Let's just, before you come on to where votes may go, on to the principle. You voted against this idea, the police and crime commissioners, in Parliament. Why was that?
Well, I just don't think it's a very good idea, Andrew. I think it's not a secret. I'm not a great fan of this. We know about the cost of this. I'm concerned about the conflict that there may be between the head of the paid staff and the elected politician. I think there's a danger of populism, and also I think it's based really on this celebrity status, the Boris factor. If we get a powerful, well-known celebrity, that somehow it will improve things. It's a daft idea in my view. The
reality in most parts of the country, of course, we've not come forward with household name, big personality candidates. You're a Liberal Democrat, though, and surely you must be in favour of something that spreads democracy, even though some of the members on it were elected people. Police authorities in themselves weren't elected. This person would be. We're going to choose them next Thursday.
But the representatives are elected on the police authority, and I think that's one of its great strengths, because it covers a vast area, and the feed into the policy-making arena is from across the whole of that region, with political priorities which do differ from area to area being fed into the police authority, and then brought together in an overall strategy. And I think that's a system that works.
I want to ask you about the question which many people have said to me this week when they've been getting in touch, because we've been debating it every evening. Why have we got people who are politically partisan standing? Because we've got red, blue and yellow candidates and an independent, a former police officer. Does that mean that if I vote, in your case, Liberal Democrat, at a local election or a general election, I will therefore vote for the Liberal Democrat candidate? A lot of people said it shouldn't be politicised.
Well, I agree, but that's the way it's going to be. If you have an election, you're going to get the political parties wanting to put forward their representatives, and that's what we've done, and unsurprisingly, it's what the other political parties have done as well.
So that's the we'd rather be in it than not in it argument,
yes,
is it?
Yes, it is, and it is, of course, a strong argument, because the day after the election, there will be a commissioner, and we cannot avoid that. It's silly pretending that it won't happen. It is going to happen. There will be a commissioner, and therefore, if there is a commissioner, I would much prefer that it's a Liberal Democrat.
It strikes me this is a bit like the attempt to have elected mayors, where you had, for example, I think in Leeds, I'm sitting in Leeds today, Keith Wakefield, the Labour leader of Leeds Council, didn't like the idea of elected mayors, but in the end, a number of people said, well, actually, I'd rather be there putting my name forward if it happened. On that, we got a chance to vote on whether we like the idea or not, and in Leeds, Bradford and Wakefield, the idea didn't go down well, and that's where it's ended. This was different. It's happening. What about the turnout question? It's predicted it could be as low as 20%. Will the winning candidate, whoever they are, have a proper mandate to do the job? Because a week tomorrow, we'll know who's going to be doing that.
Well, again, that's the worry, and I also voted against the elected mayors, by the way, Andrew, for much the same reasons. But this person will have a lot of authority and power. So it is important. I might not like the fact that there's going to be an election, but there will be one, and I would just urge everybody to contribute. What we always say to people who don't vote is that you're leaving it to the people who do vote to decide for you who will win. So if you have a vote, please use it.
Did your party do all it can, though? Because we're in this funny position now where something you didn't like, you're encouraging people to vote for, and your party's leadership's been pretty lukewarm generally. Some of your senior peers tried to get the legislation delayed. That must have hindered candidates, didn't it?
Well, it did, because you have mixed views on this. It's in the coalition agreement, Andrew, and there are some things in there that we don't like. There are a lot of things in there the Conservatives don't like, but have happened as a result of it being part of the agreement. It's in the agreement. And so nationally we're abiding by this, but locally there may be opposition to it, and that's in the form of deciding not to take part. But that's the liberalism in it, allowing local discretion.
We have got in the Yorkshire area 4 police forces. We'll have 4 police commissioners. 3 of them are going to have to choose new chief constables at a time of budget cuts, at a time of unease. It's not going to be an easy job. People say, £100,000. I've had people pointing out to me you could have bought two senior, or fairly experienced police officers, as it were, for £100,000. I say bought, but you know what I mean, paid the salary of two police officers for that. Try and do that balance for me.
No, I can't.
You can't?
No, I don't agree with it, do I? I can't say more in any other way. And it's another reason, the additional cost in here. But it is an election. You know, this has been driven through by David Cameron. It is going to happen. So we need to make sure that whoever is elected is the person that we want it to be, because this post will be of consequence. And so I do urge people to vote. Don't turn your back on it. Do please take part in this and make sure that other people don't decide for you who the person will be. I
have to say, earlier this year, we struggled at times to find people who are in favour of elected mayors, but we did find a fair few. We have really struggled to find people who are full square behind the idea of these elected police and crime commissioners. If the Conservatives lose the next election, how likely do you think it would be that police commissioners survive beyond the next Parliament?
I don't think it's got a ghost of a chance. Well, I would hope not anyway. It's just a crazy idea, and it's driven by David Cameron.
But it's accountable, it's democracy, it's giving the real people who we choose the power to hire and fire. And you as a local councillor and now as an MP know about the power of the electorate to hire and fire, and in turn the person we choose will be hiring and firing. And surely that's got some merit to it.
But the trouble is, Andrew, is that when you're covering such large areas and the political parties inevitably get into these elections, they're bound to, then the danger is that you may have a candidate from a political party or has a strength in a particular part of the region that favours that area to the disadvantage of other areas. Now, the current system ensures that there's a balance there, a balance of argument that comes from the representatives from all the local authorities across the region, the district, and that is fed in to come forward with an overall strategy for the area, and that to me makes sense.
David Ward, thank you for speaking to us this afternoon.
Thank you, Andrew.
He's the Bradford East Liberal Democrat MP, as you've heard, encouraging you to vote, but doesn't like the idea and in fact voted against it himself when it was discussed in Parliament. BBC Radio Leeds.